live. You see they're dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the pilgrims were good to Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher. Amen, somebody.
right, Bishop, my friend. Take care of yourself. Be checking you out.
All right.
Great program, sir.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Peace, family. Good morning to you. Let's go. Happy Monday. Let's get it. Let me see. Twitter playing games because I don't know why they playing games, but it just is what it is. For some reason, they wouldn't let me start the space that I had set up. Okay. They wouldn't let me start the space that I had set up, so I had to start another space. And it's all good. So the one I promoted didn't get started. So we're just going to have to push this one out. I understand why they don't want me to talk about Trump's crazy bill from hell. I get it. It's an attack on the poor, the vulnerable, the sick. The elderly. So I get it. I get it, Elon and them. Y'all didn't want me to talk about this bill, so y'all suppressing it. That's all good. We still gonna get the word out. We still gonna get the word out. Tell a friend, tell somebody we on right now. Let's go. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to another edition of The Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African American experience. Words have their own vitality, they shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. It is 6 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m., and I want to thank Elder Rick Robinson for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour. With those Monday morning inspirations, you can hear him every Monday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., bringing you the best in gospel music and inspiration. Great way to start out your week. And listen, I got some assignments for you this today. Today's an important day. The so-called big beautiful bill is before the Senate today, and we've got some work to do to try to defeat this bill. I'm going to in the short time that I have, I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can on the dangers of this bill, and it is dangerous. Um, to tell you how it negatively affects the poor, um, the elderly, um, the uh, the sick, the most vulnerable populations in America, and how it benefits a relative few. And while we're sitting around, um, you know, line dancing to where them fans at, they are literally determining the future of you and your children and your children's children. They're literally giving them bills for generations to come to pay for tax cuts for the most wealthy in America. And we're sitting on the sidelines not paying attention, and we can't afford to do that. Literally, this bill, if it passes, is going to knock 11 million people um, off their health insurance. Probably you, probably your grandmother, probably your mom and them. Who knows? Um, who knows? Um, Probably many of the folks who voted for Donald Trump. Um, and they're oblivious to it because they're blinded by supporting a man based upon his racism, that they don't even understand when he's pushing policies that negatively affect them. Some of them have found out through the deportations and all of that. Black people are now finding out because they've moved from Latinos um, to removing the protected status of 500,000 Haitians, and went out this past week like they've been stopping by schools and churches and places like that to round up Latinos. They stopped by a neighborhood to round up Haitians. Black people started fighting back with the spirit of their ancestors in the Haitian rebellion. Um, and Trump and Stephen Miller are talking about, hey, we need to have the right to deport American citizens. So which American citizens do you think they're talking about? All of y'all who are FBA, who are clapping, oh yay, Trump said birthright citizenship was about the babies of the slaves, as if that was a win for FBA. Who do you think, when he starts deporting American citizens, who you think he's coming after? You think he's coming after white folks? That who you think they're coming after? Come on, man. Come on, come on. But where them fans at? Where them fans at? As the nation is crumbling, as we are too. I said this during the last administration when Democrats were in charge, and y'all thought I was being hyperbolic and being and exaggerating when I kept telling y'all we ain't but a couple laws away from the plantation. Now you really see it. Now you really see it. Now you really see it. The Supreme Court ruled that federal judges could no longer impose nationwide injunctions on the illegal things that Trump is doing. So basically gave him a license to go ahead and do unconstitutional things by executive order. That basically he can, with the stroke of a pen, say, I declare thus and so, and then send out law enforcement, which are all under his command as president. The Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Marine, the FBI, the CIA, ICE, the DEA, all of that. So he can make an executive order and then send out law enforcement to round y'all up and do what he wants to do with y'all. And the courts have said federal judges can't freeze it. They can't stop it, no matter how illegal it is. We do not live in a democracy. If it ever was one, it's not one anymore. We live under the dictatorship of a tyrant, and no one is safe. Which is why when I see crazy black preachers like Apostle Tony Wade talking about, if you mad at what's happening in the country, go get you another country. I'm turning up for Jesus on the 4th of July while your ancestors were still enslaved. And black people sitting up under this coonish kind of leadership when all this stuff is happening. They're going to be the ones on the plantation when they get us back there, talking about how good Massa is to us. But y'all listening to these Negroes preach every week. And they have joined, of course, with white evangelicals. My latest piece is out. You need to get a copy of it and read it. It's called A Bill Straight from Hell, Trump's Assault on the Poor, Backed by the Pews of Privilege. And it details how the church is backing his assault on the least of these, while still claiming that they are followers of Jesus. Whole lot to talk about. I break down this bill, tell a friend, tell somebody, get on the air, and the next 45 minutes is going to go by real quick, but tell them to get on the air, and I'm going to give you some action steps. We got some work to do to try to turn some of these senators against this bill. And I'll tell you exactly how detrimental it is to you, to your family, to your community. So don't dare go nowhere. Stay with us, and we'll be right back.
But the essence of growth has changed. The being in the room will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Reach a little higher, reach a little higher, dig a little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher, come on, yeah. Dig a little deeper, dig a little deeper, go a little further, go a little further. Come on, but don't stop. The essence of life is growth, but the essence of growth is change. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Your life will never change until you get disgusted with where you are. Whatever you don't hate is what you tolerate. You must.
All right, do me a favor, y'all. Rep your city, rep your town.
For it is your daily routine that determines your success or failure in life. It's the choices that you have made up until this point that will determine the rest of your life. So break the cycle that doing. And
let me know where you're chiming in from.
You only get out what you put in, so don't settle for the crumbs when you can have a whole loaf. So push yourself beyond your limitations. Come on.
I got 10 action steps that are coming up.
Dig a little deeper. Don't stop. Come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper.
We got some work to do.
Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. So you gotta break the routine of trying to beat the system. Manipulators will always try to bypass the process.
Let me see what's happening here.
There are no shortcuts to success. There are no elevators to the top. You gotta take it one step at a time. You gotta break the routine of allowing others to get into your head to control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're gonna always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down. Let your haters push you forward to the next level.
I think I lost my Instagram.
See them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes. So you gotta keep pushing yourself to the next level.
Man, so I got to go back on the gram because just lost my grams. We'll get you back. We'll get them back.
You gotta understand the greatness is the nature that you were born
I get the gram back.
You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication.
All right, peace to the gram.
And what you expect for
See if we can
yourself.
get Had a couple hundred on there. Let's see if we can get them back. Let's see if we can get our Graham audience back.
You're just a step away. Don't ever give up. Come on. You're just a step away. You're almost there. Come on. You gotta push yourself beyond your limitations. You see, there's no mountain too high, no valley too low. You can go where you want to go. It's all in the power of your
All right, Graham is frozen again. Here we go.
You can do the impossible. So stretch yourself. Take yourself to the next level.
Y'all know this ain't no coincidence, right? When Twitter and the Graham and everybody is wilding out with me trying to talk about this bill, I don't know, call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever you want to do. I don't think it's a coincidence that everything is glitching out all of a sudden. I really don't.
Blessings are coming your way.
I just don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, Twitter glitching out, the Graham glitching out, everybody glitching out when I'm talking about this so-called big, beautiful bill. Come on, man.
A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow.
I can't get the Graham back on. Every time I hit it, it freezes.
But it just made me stronger, and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who
All right.
good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love. I kicked his butt with divine power from above. Power that says I can do all things.
Facebook, let me know if y'all can hear me. YouTube, let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me see if anything's glitching on y'all end. Since they're glitching Twitter and they're glitching everywhere else. Let's see if they're flagging Big Beautiful Bill.
Oh yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. She's looking good. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman is me.
Let's see if there's something in the algorithm that is making them
You say you sold out because black women are loud and
suppress.
What? And your precious white woman is the epitome of class? Are you so blind?
Let's see what we got.
See? That pale girl child ain't got nothing on me. For hundreds of years we have stood by your side, accepted your flaws and allowed you your pride.
Wow.
Bore your children and cleaned up your mess, satisfied your lust and
yeah, they messing with me on Instagram.
We have stayed in the background and allowed you to lead, trusting in your strength and ability to succeed, never getting the praise and credit we deserve, but having the courage, the will, and the nerve, for being the backbone.
I'm sorry to the Graham.
For you and our children in all kinds of weather, and now suddenly you say we're not good enough for you. We forced you to sell out because of the things we do. Well,
I'm sorry.
White woman, when that white man you hate was cracking.
They don't want y'all on.
In the boardroom, the warehouse, and on the slave ship. She stood by.
All right, let's see what happens now.
Waiting for her own.
I'm trying to get y'all back.
And now it's her you turn to and treat like a queen, and me and my sisters you choose to demean. Well, hold up, wait a minute, and stop the damn bus. Because there are a few things I need to remind you about.
Okay, looks like we back on the Gram. All right, 200 of y'all jump right back up. Appreciate you. Boy, they do not want me talking about this to y'all.
Ebony, mocha, or black as the night. It is we who have always shared in you.
Wild.
We are passionate, spiritual, loving, and kind.
Rep your city, rep your town. Throw it in the comment section. Let them know y'all are here, since they trying to mess with us.
giving woman you've ever seen. But we give and forgive until there's little left. Then we're forced to put up our guard to avoid.
Let them know y'all are here from wherever y'all are here from.
The very nature of our soul by our so-called brothers who are just playing a role. And you wonder why some of us
90.7 WTCC. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Having some technical difficulty on the social media side. Seem like somebody trying to suppress this message. You know, every now and then, you know, there are certain topics and stuff. Sometimes what they do on social media is they flag certain words. And then all of a sudden, bam, you know, your stream freezes, your stream gets cut off, and, you know, all of that kind of crazy stuff starts happening. And I just, you know, call me a conspiracy theorist, call me whatever you want. I don't think it's a coincidence that when certain topics are being discussed, that all of a sudden, bam, you have problems broadcasting them on these streaming sites. I think they're very deliberate in terms of what they push to the forefront and what they try to suppress. And so they've been playing with me on Instagram. Hopefully my grammars are back up, but you know, it's obvious that somebody don't want this message about this big, beautiful bill from hell, you know, getting out, which is why it's so important that we talk about it. Anyway, 413-736-2781, 413-736-2781. Do me a favor once again, rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming from. Everybody, put in your city and your town now. Let them know that y'all are on here. Let them know. Let them know y'all are on here, regardless of whether they want you on here or not. And you know, I hadn't even shared it. I need to share it with my groups on the book. So let me do that, so we can see if we can draw some more folks into this conversation. Boy, they are real uptight. You know, I don't know. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Okay, I think y'all can hear me. I was gonna say, let me know if y'all can hear me on the book and on YouTube. Just need to know that y'all are not glitching out too, like the other social media sites are glitching out. And then I see they are suppressing me on the book, because we're usually at least somewhere in the mid 100s to 200 range on the book, and we're below that, which is an indication that once again they're making sure that the word doesn't get out to who we want it to get out to. But the one thing they can't suppress is the 4,000 watts that we're broadcasting over. So they may be able to stop our social media audience, but we're on iHeartRadio, so we're reaching thousands there. We're on TuneIn Radio, and we're reaching thousands there. So, and we're over 4,000 watts here in the Pioneer Valley. So they can't stop that as well, no matter how much they try to suppress the social media audience. I see about 250 of y'all in the YouTube space, so welcome YouTube. I guess they ain't bothering y'all too much on the tube. About 100 of y'all, which is half of my audience that I normally have on Facebook. Hopefully it'll open up and some will be able to get back in that space. And then let me see, y'all still going. Got 150 of y'all on Instagram. All right, welcome everybody. Do me a favor, rep your city, rep your town, and let me know where you are chiming in from. Chi-Town is in the house. I see my daughter on here. I see H-Town. I see The 413, yeah, that's right, Big Dumb Bill. Columbus, Ohio. I see Hammond, New Jersey. I see Buffalo, New York in here. I see Quebec in here. I see the ATL in here. Thank y'all for telling me y'all can hear me. I see Los Angeles in here. I see Cincinnati in here. Another Chi-Town up in the building. Another Houston up in the building. Another Kansas City up in the building. Orlando is in the building. Houston is in here again. Charlotte is in here again. Atlanta's in here again. Houston again and again and again. Where y'all at over here? Where y'all at? Gastonia, North Carolina. Boston, Massachusetts. Yes, sir. Massachusetts up in the building. We're the 413. Phoenix, Arizona is in the house. New York City is in the house. California, repping the whole state. North Carolina, repping the whole state. South Carolina, repping the whole state. Texas, repping the whole state. Up in the building. Another Houston, Texas. Another New York. I don't know where in New York, if that's the city or if you repping the whole state as well. And it's all good. If you want to rep your whole state, then go ahead and rep your whole state. Philadelphia is up in the building. London, England is up in the building. UK, representing the whole country, is up in here. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to each and every one of you. If you're in the Twitter space, you can definitely throw in the comment section where you are coming in from. Buckle up. We got to deal with this big bill. We got to deal with this big, ugly bill, this bill from hell that's being talked about, that's being debated, that's being voted on in the Senate today. So this so-called big, beautiful bill, it ain't big-hearted, it's not beautiful, and it's not beneficial to the people who need government the most. And here's what you need to understand. Here's what you need to understand. There are 435, I believe is the correct number. If not, somebody will look it up, Google it. But if I'm correct, it's 435, somewhere around there, members of the House of Representatives. And then there's 2 U.S. senators per state, so another 100. So there are 535 people that are elected across the nation to represent their constituents in D.C. Then you have a president and a vice president who are elected. Everybody else is appointed to cabinet positions, et cetera, et cetera. The billions of dollars that the government controls, those 500 and some odd people didn't bring that money to D.C. with them. This is what we need to understand. This is not their money. This money belongs to you, the taxpayers, citizens. Okay? And sometimes people who aren't even citizens, who work and still pay taxes. The taxpayers of America are who provide that money that comes out of your check, that federal income tax, that Social Security tax, that Medicare tax that comes out of your check. That's what funds the government. That's what funds the government. So when the government appropriates funds, it's basically taking your money, and those 500 and some odd people are deciding how to spend your money because supposedly they represent you in Congress. Donald Trump and his appointed cabinet members are acting like this is their personal money. And they get to say, hey, we don't like money going to cancer research. We don't like money going to Head Start. We don't like money going to this and that and the other. So we're just going to cut out money from all of that and redirect it to where we want to spend it. Even though people who need cancer research, who need Head Start, who need these programs, pay taxes and deserve those services. They're acting like it's their own personal wallet. The Stephen Millers of the world, the the cabinet members of Trump, acting like this is their personal money. And this bill is a monumental betrayal of working families. They're decimating the middle class. I don't even know if we have a middle class anymore. They're decimating working families. They're attacking children, the elderly, the sick, the poor. It's a document that is dressed up in rhetoric that sounds good to dumb people because they don't know any better. But it's designed to further enrich billionaires and to crush the most vulnerable. And with the full support from the White House, from MAGA loyalists in Congress, really from the Republican Party, period, because they're all scared of Trump. They're scared to oppose him. This legislation is nothing but a wish list for the wealthy and a death sentence for what Jesus called the least of these. And they're doing it using flowery language like fiscal accountability, fiscal responsibility, tax reform. And basically it guts the safety nets for the most vulnerable people. And it hands massive tax breaks to corporations and to the top 1% in America. Now here's the thing. Forget the spin. Forget the Democrat-Republican spin. The Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan entity, neither down with the Democrats nor down with the Republicans. They have estimated that if this bill passes, get this, if this bill passes, nearly 11 million Americans will lose health coverage through Medicaid cuts. They will lose SNAP benefits, food stamps, already food insecurity. They're going to slash SNAP by $300 billion, even as food insecurity remains rampant. They're going to cut Head Start programs for low-income preschoolers that are facing all kinds of challenges. Cutting Head Start. What kind of people decide it's okay to cut programs to preschoolers? They're cutting housing subsidies. Okay, for people you know that are on Section 8 and other programs, other types of housing subsidies, they're cutting those. I've got the last of my Mohicans, my youngest son, going off to Western New England University in the fall. Many of you have put kids through college as I have, or are putting kids through college. Guess what? They're cutting college grants, Pell Grants, and those types of things. They're cutting public school funding. This is all in this big, beautiful bill. They're cutting cancer research. All of these things are on the chopping block. And I'm gonna talk about the white evangelicals, but for my black preachers who are down with Trump because of policies, what about these policies? Or is the only policies you concerned about is homosexuality and abortion? Long as he say he don't like homosexuals, And as long as the Supreme Court has ruled on abortion, you don't care what he does to what Jesus said was the least of these. Is that what I'm hearing y'all say? Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing?
I'm good.
We dealing with some sick people that basically they just don't care. They don't care nothing about our children. They don't care nothing about the elderly. And you know what? If he couldn't have killed us that last time with the bleach, he sure is going to kill people now.
Absolutely.
Sick people, brother. So you know what? People still need to rise up. Let's fight this. Let's stay on our senators. You know, we the one that voted for them in. We got to stay on them. They know this stuff ain't right.
Yes, sir.
So,
All right. Appreciate you. 413-736-2781. Love to hear you chime in on the program. I love to hear my black Trump supporters tell me why this is cool. Tell me why this bill is okay. And I get it. Y'all are down with them rounding up the Latinos. You know, because some of y'all are on this divisive stuff around immigrants. And they, like I said, you know, they started rounding up Haitian immigrants, and they come in, and when they get done with the black and brown immigrants, and they start rounding up U.S. citizens, don't think they starting with white folks. Okay? I like to hear y'all defend these policies. Since my black Trumpers say it's about policy, what you got to say about policies that cuts food for hungry people? Didn't Jesus say, when I was hungry, you didn't feed me? Policies that cut people off of health care. Didn't Jesus say, when I was sick, you didn't minister to me? When did this happen, Jesus? In as much as you have done it to the least of these, my little ones, you have done it unto me. What about those policies that negatively affect the least of these? What's y'all defense for this? Black Trumpers, black preachers who support this administration? Because if the only thing you can refer to is two issues, we got a problem here. And make no mistake, this bill is not about balancing a budget. It's about punishing the poor. It's about protecting the powerful. It's about building a white plutocracy on the backs of black people, brown people, vulnerable people, poor people, and working class communities. And it is no coincidence that this bill comes in the middle of an administration that erases black history from school curricula, that eliminates diversity, equity, and inclusion programs from federal agencies, that deports immigrants, even legal ones, and separates families under draconian policies. It's not a coincidence that is happening under an administration that defunds the Department of Education, that cripples our public school system, that slashes support for environmental protections, for housing, and for civil rights enforcement. This is not a policy dispute. It's a deliberate ideological war against equity, against diversity, against justice. This bill is nothing more than a Trojan horse, a legislative Trojan horse. And behind its doors are those old demons of America: class warfare, racial oppression, white nationalist nostalgia. And perhaps the most damning element in this crusade against the poor is the unwavering, uncritical, unequivocal support from white evangelical so-called Christians. Those who claim to follow Jesus, a poor Palestinian Jew who said the foxes have holes, the birds have nests, but the Son of Man have no place to lay his head, who said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me. Yet here they are, singing hallelujah on Sunday morning, but supporting policies that rob the poor, that turn away immigrants when Jesus told them to treat the stranger with respect, that crush the sick that Jesus said to minister to, that dismantle protections for the marginalized, the oppressed that Jesus said he came to deliver. Their silence, their support, their justification on the cruelty of this bill is not a matter of political disagreement. Let's not act like we just got a difference in our politics. It's spiritual treason. It's heresy. Their cheers for this violent economic expose is part of a rotted foundation of a religious movement that has traded the gospel of Jesus Christ, if it ever had it, for the gospel of greed and white nationalism. These are the same evangelicals and some of our black brothers and sisters with them who cry out about abortion and religious liberty, but are silent when children are thrown off of food assistance, when cancer patients lose Medicaid coverage, when working families are forced to choose between rent and groceries. They profess that they believe in Jesus while pledging allegiance to the empire, to this wicked government that is pushing policies that are completely antithetical to anything that resembles authentic Christianity. Because let's be clear, this is not Christianity. It's idolatry. It's the worship of whiteness, of wealth, and of domination wrapped in a cross, draped in a flag, and camouflaged in scripture. Their loyalty to Trump and these policies is not theological, it's tribal. It is not about faith, it's about power. And in that equation, the teachings of Jesus, you do know Jesus that I'm talking about, right? If you know Jesus, put it in the comment section. Just say, I do know Jesus. Okay, just if you know Jesus. If you know the same Jesus that I'm talking about, the dark-skinned Palestinian Jew Jesus. Okay, the Jesus who fed the hungry. The Jesus who healed the sick. The Jesus who welcomed the stranger. The Jesus who lifted the poor. All of his teachings have been completely abandoned by these so-called Christians. I see one of y'all know Jesus. I see you know Jesus, Annie Beard. Thank you. I see you know Jesus, Linda Green. You know Jesus? Tell me I see you know Jesus, Robin. Yeah. Tony, I see you know Jesus. White evangelicalism in its current political form is not a moral compass for the nation. Carolyn, I see you know Jesus. But it is a blunt instrument of oppression. And it embraces this administration and this bill to expose itself to what we've always known. Their kingdom is not of God, but of whiteness. All right, I see you know Jesus, Whitney, because I taught you about him. I see you know Jesus, Lydia. And so resist. Charlotte knows Jesus. Our call is to resist. Somebody put that in there, underscore that, and say our call is to resist. I see you know Jesus, Deacon Lovejoy. Come on, tell your neighbor in the comment section, our call is to resist. That's what I'm calling. I'm calling on y'all to set some time aside over the next few days. Call in numbers 413-736-2781. Let me get it up there. I need y'all to set aside some time over the next 48 to 72 hours, because we got some work to do, and I'm going to give you some numbers and some assignments very shortly in terms of what we need to be doing to try to turn the tide of this bill. Because even if it passes the Senate, it has to go to conference committee. Still a chance to defeat it. All right. Come on. Our call is to resist. Is to resist. Yes, it is to resist. Okay, I see I got 562 on Twitter. All right, Twitter finally came up off the suppression, apparently. Let me see if we ever got up off of it on the book. We were running low on the book. Let me see if they ever got up off me on the book. I can't see the numbers right offhand. Let's see where we are on the book. Oh yeah, we got 265 on the book. So they came up off me. They came up off me on the book too. Welcome everybody. Good morning, caller. 413-736-2781. Be patient. I'll get to the call. Don't hang up on me just yet. Our call is to resist. All right. Is to resist. Let me see. All right. $158 of y'all on the gram. So gram is still holding steady. I guess they finally got up off me on the book. So good morning to everybody who came onto the book. Welcome. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Tell a friend, tell somebody. I want you to get as many people on as you can in the next couple of minutes, because these next 10 minutes are going to go by with some information that we all absolutely need. I'm going to ask some of you all to help me out by jumping into Whitney and others in the comment section and typing in some information that I'm getting ready to share with you all that we need to have. I got 250 of y'all on YouTube. I'm just trying to wait to see if we can get some more folks on each of our social media channels, because it's important. The information I'm fitting to share is important. Yeah, I said fitting. Yeah, some of y'all understand that slang. The information I'm fitting to share is important. So we need to get folk on here. So do me a favor, tell a friend, just send them a text real quick. If you haven't shared it, share it to your page, do all that stuff. 413-736-2781. So our call is to resist, because what we are witnessing, brothers and sisters, is not just a legislative failure, but it's a spiritual collapse. Okay? A nation that calls itself Christian while crucifying the poor. And we can't allow a coalition of billionaires and political puppets and false prophets to write the future of this nation in blood ink on the backs of our children and our elderly and our sick and our infirm. Good morning, caller.
Hello, Mr. Swan. How you doing?
I'm good. You?
Good, man. I'm blessed by what you saying, man. I'm calling from the state of Mississippi.
All right.
And Bishop, I wish if I call your church, will I be able to? Because it's something I want to ask you, not on the air, man, that I've been seeing. It's been quite disturbing to me.
I probably know what it is, but yeah, you can call the church 413-733-1032.
Will you be there? Will you be there after you lead the show?
Shortly, but you can reach my extension and it'll reach me wherever I am.
Yes, sir. But it's been disturbing, and I ain't gonna say it on the air. But anyway, I want to give you a call, and man, you just such a blessing, not just to your state, but all around the country, man. I was been telling numbers and stuff and coaches. Listen to Bishop Swan, cause he's putting it down.
Appreciate you, brother. 413-736-2781. This is not about economics. It's about ethics. It's not just policy. It's about people's lives, literally about people's lives. And if we remain silent while this administration weaponizes the government against the people, then we would have failed our moral mandate to protect the least of these, to protect our own children, to protect our own grandchildren. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm calling from New Jersey. You said resist, right? Resist the devil and he'll flee from you. But one of the things a lot of people don't understand, religion is a man-made thing. These evangelical Christians are just an example of what the KKK is all about. And if you read anything in Project 2025, it's all about what he's doing right now. And he wants African Americans to go back picking cotton. If we don't do something about it, if we don't stand up, we're going to be either deported or picking cotton.
That's what I've said. That's what I've been trying to tell people, that we are 2 laws away from being back on the plantation, and that his conversations about deporting American citizens, he ain't talking about white folks. He's talking about us.
If you notice, all the people he's been deporting, they're people of color, whether you're brown, black, or whatever. But how many people are here from Russia and other countries that are illegal? He's not looking at them. He's only looking at people of color. And the whole administration is about declassifying African Americans. And we better wake up. They don't realize that the majority of people who are on welfare and receiving assistance, they're not black Americans or minorities. They're white people. And what's happening is his laws and stuff are backfiring on him. And some people are waking up, but not enough of us are waking up. And we're thinking because we got a little money, we're still not the billionaires that he's protecting. If you didn't receive a stimulus check, it doesn't matter because you made over $99,000 a year. Okay? You're still not the people he's protecting. And if we don't stop and look at this, we're asleep. And we may as well try to buy some land in Africa somewhere because he's going to try to get rid of all of us.
There you go. Appreciate your call. She's telling the truth. That's what I've been trying to tell y'all. So let's go over this real fast. I'm going to give you key facts. I'm going to give you action steps. Here are the facts. $1.6 trillion in tax cuts. 80% go to the top 10%. 80% go to the top 10%. 11 million people are expected to lose Medicaid or subsidized health coverage, be thrown off the health coverage. That means your mama with hypertension, your sister with cancer, all of those folks losing their health coverage. SNAP benefits, food assistance cut by $300 billion. Head Start programs eliminated in over 200 communities for preschoolers. Section 8 housing voucher programs are going to be slashed. Pell Grants for kids like my son who are going to college, cut by $15 billion, affecting millions of college students. DEI initiatives, environmental justice programs, Black cultural heritage grants, all eliminated. This bill is a billionaire bailout paid for by hungry children and sick grandmothers. All right? And you don't lift America by pushing the most vulnerable further down. This bill makes the poor poorer, the sick sicker, and the rich richer. Who can stop it? These are the senators that have to be pressured. Somebody get to typing. Somebody, come on, get to typing. Help me in the typing section, okay? Help me in the typing section. Senator Susan Collins of Maine. Senator Lisa Murkowski of Arkansas. Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas. Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. Senator Mitt Romney of Utah. I don't see y'all typing. Come on, we need to get these names in here. And don't think because you don't live in their state that you can't call them. Everybody needs to call them. I'm going to give you some numbers in just 1 minute. I'm going to give you some numbers in 1 minute. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, bitch. How you doing, Sam?
I'm good. Make your comment quick because I got to get this information out.
Okay, listen. When I was in college, Reagan came into office and he cut the SCOD and the BEOD. He cut the grants for us when we were back in college in Boston, Northeastern, BC, Harvard, Berkeley. All the colleges, they cut them grants. They plan and God plans, and God is the best of planners. I just want to put that out there.
All right, appreciate it. All right, let me give you those senators' names again. Senator Susan Collins of Maine. Do I need to type these myself? I don't see them popping up, or am I just not seeing them? Senator Susan Collins. Okay, I see some of y'all typing. Senator Susan Collins of Maine. Senator Lisa Murkowski of Arkansas. Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas. Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. And Senator Mitt Romney of Utah. How do we fight? Somebody put this in. 100 of y'all put this in the comment section. Call the Senate hotline. Here is the number. 202-224-3121. I'm gonna give it to you until I see it pop in the comment section. 202-224-3121. All right, come on. Once again, area code 202-224-3121. I'm trying to pin that number. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I'm going to pin it right there. All right. This is the number right here. 202-224-3121. That's the number you call to contact those senators. Ask to be connected to them and demand they vote no on the big, beautiful bill. You're not going to talk to them. You're going to talk to their staff member and tell their staff member the reason you're calling is to tell them to vote no on the big, beautiful bill. Flood their telephones all day. Tell them to vote no on the big, beautiful bill. Then flood their inboxes. All right? There's some email templates and constituent platforms that you can go check out. Somebody put these websites up. 5calls.org. 5calls.org. The number 5. 5calls.org. 5calls.org. Go there. You will find their email addresses and some templates that you can send as an email. Also go to resist.bot. resist.bot. Somebody put that in there. resist.bot. Go to those two websites. So you can begin to not only call, but to flood their inboxes. Then I need y'all to tweet these senators. Need y'all to get on. I know some of y'all ain't on X no more, but those of you who are, get on there, at them, at those senators whose names I gave you, at them on Instagram, at them on Facebook, at them on X, at them wherever they are on social media, and use these hashtags. Somebody put these hashtags in there. Hashtag stop the big bill. Hashtag stop the big bill. Somebody get that in the comments. Somebody else get in there. Hashtag protect the people. Hashtag protect the people. Somebody else put in there. Hashtag Medicaid matters. These are the hashtags you're going to be using when you tweet at them, when you post at them. Hashtag stop the big bill. Hashtag protect the people. Hashtag Medicaid matters. Get those hashtags in there. Then you need to testify online. Share stories on your social about how Medicaid, about how SNAP, about how DEI changed your life, and tag those senators. Tag those senators. Tell them how, when you were struggling, the only way your kid could go to preschool so you could work was because of a Head Start program. Tag your senator about how cancer research is critical. My daughter right now is battling breast cancer. Right now. So I'm passionate about that. My sister died of breast cancer. How many of your family members have suffered with or are fighting cancer? And this orange monster in the White House wants to cut funding for cancer research and cancer treatment. Then churches and faith leaders need to mobilize. Pressure your pastors. If your churches aren't doing anything but having conferences and revivals and shouting and dancing, and they won't talk about the critical issues that affect your life on a daily basis, hold your pastors and your leadership accountable. Y'all shouldn't have to come down to my church to see me when you got an issue because your pastor won't deal with it. I learned that years ago where there were so many people who would come. I need a meeting with Bishop Swan, and they need to talk to me about this issue, that issue, that issue. And I ask them what church you go to. I go to so-and-so church. Well, what's your pastor saying about? Oh, they don't deal with that. And then I asked them a question. I said, but you pay your tithes to that church? You give your pastoral offering to that church? So you want to pay that pastor in that church, but come to me when you need help? No. You need to hold your pastors accountable, because churches and faith leaders need to be mobilizing. Use the pulpit. Use the bulletin in your church. Use the Bible study. Advocate in faith-based spaces that silence in this moment is not an option. And ask your leadership, why don't we talk about that? Why don't we deal with that? Action step number 6, partner with local groups. Link up with Black civic organizations, immigrant rights groups, disability advocates, education unions. Hold teach-ins, hold rallies, hold pop-up events. Get this information out there. Burn up the phone lines today. Call 5 people. Share that number, that 202 number that you see right there. Share that number. Tell them to call that list of senators and tell them to vote no on the big ugly bill. And push the media outlets to cover this. Call your local TV station, your local radio station, your print outlets. Call your local black newspaper. Ask them why they talking trash about nonsense and not talking about this. Demand that they report on the human cost of this bill. Or ask them a question, why haven't you covered this bill at all? With the devastating effects that it's going to have on black people, why haven't I seen anything about this in your paper? Then number 8, organize a virtual day of action. Coordinate Zoom rallies, Instagram lives where you talk about this, Facebook actions. Invite speakers who represent the affected communities to talk about this issue, to deal with this and other issues that are affecting us with this administration. And then boycott the people who fund this. Boycott the billionaires and the corporations. Name and shame corporations and political action committees that are pushing this legislation. And redirect your spending to black-owned businesses, to justice-focused businesses, to work-centered businesses. Continue to boycott places like Target and organizations that fund this type of legislation. All right? Express your disdain with your white evangelical brothers. And that's why somebody asked me last year, are you going to be part of the March for Jesus? That's where white evangelicals get together and they march for Jesus down the city hall. But these same white evangelicals support Trump and his policies. And I told somebody, hell no, I'm not marching with white evangelicals who refused to march after the murder of George Floyd, who refused to march for justice for Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and so many other black people who were senselessly murdered. They won't march for black lives, but you gonna be arm in arm marching for white Jesus down the city hall with them as they support Trump and his policies. And when you call these folk, remind them that we vote. And that if they vote for this bill, they can be voted out of office. Make it clear, make it public, make it loud, and keep repeating it. I got to get out your way. I got to move out your way. I got to close the program. But let me close by saying this. This big, ugly bill, this so-called big, beautiful bill, is just the latest attempt by this administration to make cruelty a national policy. But our people have survived worse. We've outlived plantations. We've outlived lynching laws. We've outlived Jim Crow. We've outlived broken promises. And we're not just going to sit silently by while they try to roll us back into the shadow of those things. We can't afford to do it, brothers and sisters, especially for our children. We can't afford to fail our children by sitting idly by. We got to rise. We got to resist. We got to organize. And we got to lift our voices and pray that God moves in this moment. All right. I got to get out your way. Coming up next is Mid-Morning Jazz and great black music. So keep it locked right here to 90.7 FM on your dial. I'll be back with you Friday on the Black Love Experience. Hopefully, I can come back on Friday and say that the bill was defeated. But we'll see what happens over the next 48 to 72 hours. Hopefully, you all will move into action and help us defeat this bill. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Bishop Talbert Swan Way. The Brick Church right there at 6 Corners, 11 o'clock a.m. every Sunday. 10 a.m. is Sunday school, prayer, praise, and preaching. We're building better tomorrows by changing lives today. And you can check us out every other Saturday at our Vermont location in Brattleboro, Vermont, 29 South Street, under the leadership of Pastor Michael Jones. Yeah. So I got to get out your way. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember God loves you, and so do I. Peace and blessings.
This one is for all the brothers that passed, but more particularly one because it affected me drastically. I remember my sister gave me the call and I was in awe. Matter of fact, it felt the farthest from reality. She seen somebody post RIP with his name and I said I doubt it's the same friend I had since the 7th grade. She said I'ma call her sister and double check, and called me back, said he hanged himself in his room and had been there for days. Initially it didn't hit me, then it clicked, and I remembered that I hadn't seen or heard from the homie all week. Wish she had told me what had him feeling lonely and weak. I guess everybody got demons we don't even speak of, cause I was with him exactly a week before the call. Just under 20, he couldn't even purchase alcohol. My best friend for like 6 or 7 years. I'm not ashamed to say I shedded plenty tears, but it was hard. He was somebody I had plenty memories with. The first person I ever burned any trees with.